At St. Cloud State University, athletics are more than just games. They're an essential part of the Husky experience. From D1 hockey games to championship-winning wrestling, volleyball, and more, there's Husky pride in every corner of campus. Whether you're on the field, in the stands, or cheering from the student section, you're a part of something big. And the best part? SCSU is close to home, affordable, and packed with community that's got your back, in class and on the court. Come see what it means to be a Husky. Schedule your campus tour today at St. Cloud State University, the home of the Huskies.
What you are about to hear will blow your mind and give you six-pack abs without even exercising.
Pull up a bar stool and relax.
Hey, who wants to have some fun?
You've made it to Happy Hour with John Gaskins.
Oh, no. Not again.
Get ready for entertaining local and regional sports talk that will change your life, or not.
And by the way, when you're telling these little stories, here's a good idea. Have a point. It makes it so much more interesting for the listener.
Here's your host, John Gaskins.
Here's Johnny. Hello!
Ah! I'm back, baby! I'm back!
Happy Hour on a Monday. Coming up, North Dakota State once again playing tour guide through the FBS for South Dakota State and USD should the Jackrabbits and Coyotes ever take the plunge. And you need money in the NIL era, right? If you need it, where do you go? The bank. I'll give you details. Sioux Falls' bid to host NCAA Men's Division I Hoops falls short. And if you've been following this show at all, it should not be a surprise to you. We have supplied you with plenty of information. I mean, they do great hosting it, but they didn't have much of a chance. And Kevin O'Connell did his Kyler Murray versus J.J. McCarthy open competition verbal tap dance with Dan Patrick, and the OG of the sports interview stopped the dimpled one dead in his tracks and verbally depantsed KOC. In good jest. You'll hear it. And more to come. Happy hour drink today, coffee, conveniently out of a Sioux Falls Canaries mug. Hey, gratuitous promotion. The Birds are back in town on Friday to start a 10-game homestand. This will follow the All-Star break and a long road trip. And I promise you'll have the most fun you'll have all summer out at the birdcage of the season, like Major League Baseball, halfway over as they both go into their All-Star breaks. So just coffee right now. But later in the show, I will be moseying on down, and I'll have a happy hour drink with my boss. Literally, the end of the workday during happy hour. We're going to go Lalley-Gagging because Sioux Falls Live Editor-in-Chief Patrick Lalley is the OG of South Dakota political reporting. And perhaps you heard there was a recount in the mayoral election that Christine Erickson won by 4 votes. 4 out of like 37,000. And then there's the Doeden and Rhoden, the 2 governor guys, 2 pigs in the pen slinging mud at each other in the Republican primary. So we got all that to get to. We'll see if Patrick wants to touch the lightning rod that is the upcoming divorce of Kristi Noem and her husband. Had a great weekend. I mean, a really fun weekend in town. I saw 4 outdoor live music shows. That's the number today, 4. Played 2 softball games in the dead heat on Sunday. Ran a little on the River Greenway Trail, dead heat on Saturday. Watched a wee bit of World Cup. Took a little bit of a dip in a friend's pool. I did all that, but I did not play golf. Fortunately, Cordell took care of that for me up in White, South Dakota. How'd you do? Did you guys win? No. Okay. Did you have fun? Had a blast. Did you have a few cocktails, drinks, beer? You had a few. Yeah, I had a few too. Just a few. So let's get happy hour going. A cheers to North Dakota State. The Bison played Let's Make a Deal, and athletes will now literally wear it. They will wear the deal. And so too will the Jacks and Yotes athletes in time. It's coming, folks. And by wearing it, I mean corporate logos on their uniforms. Yes, college athletics is becoming NASCAR. That big fear that we all had we've had plenty of other things that make college athletics look like a money grab, but that's coming. They'll be walking billboards in short time. So, look, my attitude is the great philosopher Harry Styles once said, it's a sign of the times. The Bison are playing big boy football now. They're getting into the FBS right away. Mountain West Conference. It cost them more than $20 million to move to the FBS and to join the Mountain West Conference combined. So the football budget, by the way, according to Mike McFeely from the Forum, that'll probably go from $8 million a year to $16 million. Some players are on a payroll now. That would be what comes from the opt-in revenue sharing deal from Washington, D.C., which the Bison and the Jacks and the Yotes also have opted into. So there's revenue sharing, plus, of course, NIL. Whatever the hell that means, right? Doesn't mean what it is supposed to mean, although schools like NDSU and SDSU and USD say it does. They're actually name, image, likeness. They got to earn it. But anyway, you got all that. So as the great Pete Bell, Nick Nolte's fictitious blue blood basketball coach from the 1993 Cinematic Treasure Blue Chips, said when he talked about what college athletics has now become, roll it.
It's about money. Just goddamn money.
So where do you get the money to pay for athletes and be able to compete and win in the modern Wild West arms race? In the Bison's case, you just go to the bank, literally. All of NDSU's 16 athletic teams will sport the Gate City Bank logo on their uniforms, although by design, as they were unveiled today at a press conference in Fargo, these athletes will not look like NASCAR drivers. They're kind of walking billboards, but you got to look close to see these. Nice job by NDSU to square these down to a tiny square patch on the football jerseys, upper left corner, just above the left chest, 4 inches by 4 inches. Gate City, longtime sponsor, of course, a local bank. You've seen the Gate West Bank logo in the Fargo Dome. If you ever watch an NDSU game on TV, you can't miss it, both of them, for the last 15 years. So long-time deal, and NDSU wanted to make them the exclusive partners. So they're not just going to sponsor football and then another company is going to sponsor another sports team there, nor are there going to be multiple logos. It's just all Gate City Bank. One big deal, terms undisclosed, other than it's a multi-year deal. And NDSU is now the 4th school in the Mountain West Conference to make a corporate patch deal. Think about that. There's 9 teams in that league. NDSU already coming in. Some people think they'll win the whole damn thing this year. They had the highest Massey ranking, computerized ranking, a higher ranking, a number 40 in the country, higher than any Mountain West Conference team last year. So they're coming in hot and heavy, and they're putting the money where their mouth is, or vice versa. Only 4 out of 9 teams, and they're one of the 9 in the league to have corporate logo patches. When it comes to finding revenue streams to pay to play, the contract at UNLV, 5 years, $11 million. The contract at Wyoming, $4.5 million over 5 years. Air Force signed a 5-year, $10 million deal. So this is believed to be the deal somewhere in that ballpark for NDSU. 5 years, $10 million, $2 million a year or so. And look, does it feel grimy, slimy? Plenty of college football fans have already weighed in. Traditionalists who, like this is the last bastion of college athletics where we're safe from pro athletics, symbolically, no corporate logos. But a bundle of college football teams already have this. NDSU is just joining the fray, and they're getting ahead of most teams by doing it. And it's an interesting question was asked to athletic director Matt Larsen today by Mike McFeely, which was, if you weren't making the move to the FBS, would you still be going after these corporate logos, that revenue stream? And here's what Matt Larsen said.
We definitely would have. I mean, I think, again, as all athletic departments nowadays are looking for new revenue streams, and it's not your traditional ones where it's ticket sales or straight donations. You have to look at what other things are possible and what else is out there. And so this is certainly one of those. Again, I go back to, it wasn't about just doing it to do it. It really was about trying to find the right partners. Tim mentioned, I'm probably the most And the staff gives me a hard time. I'm very much traditional about our look, and when you turn on TV, you know it's the Bison. And so for us to stray from that, and that's why it was really important to make sure we found the right partner. But I mean, obviously with the transition to FBS, is the visibility becomes much greater. When you're talking 10 nationally televised games versus, one in the regular season at the FCS level, that the ability to get that brand and that messaging out there is much greater.
So there you go. They would be doing it if they were in the FCS. It'd be another way for NDSU to continue to stay on top in that subdivision. You need the dough, man. It's like Animal House when they're looking at the pictures of the pledges on the projector screen in the basement and throwing beer cans at guys they don't want. It's like, hey, we need the dudes. We need the money, man. And that's just it. If you're a fan and you want your team to be competitive, your school needs money. If you can't afford to write them a check, well, they're going to, as he said, ticket sales are not enough anymore. At NDSU, by the way, you go to FBS and you get a big TV deal, right? That's, $90 million for every Big Ten team. But it's a much smaller deal in the Mountain West, and NDSU doesn't get a cent for like 6 years. So again, let's go back to this is a money guide for SDSU and USD should the Jacks or Yotes want to join. And so fans can crow about it all they want, but if you ever want to join the FBS someday, and I think more Jacks and Yotes fans want to, and even if you don't, maybe it's best while you're still in FCS. You just need money. This is a way to get it now. Here's the message that Matt Larsen said to all the fuddy-duddies out there who just shiver and shake and cringe at corporate logos on jerseys.
Our fans are probably a lot like I was, very traditionalist, whether it's NIL or whether it's some of these changes to college athletics that for decades was very much the same. And I think what I've seen from our fans and our donors and our folks in the community is that I think they're starting to understand that some of these changes in the NCAA are here to stay. And so if we want NDSU athletics to continue to be competitive at a national level, compete for NCAA championships and NCAA tournaments, these are the types of things that we need to do. And hopefully they trust in that we're going to do it the right way. We've done, our NIL is about earning it, partnering with the right jersey patch partner that makes sense for North Dakota and North Dakota State. And so I think that's the piece, probably my biggest takeaway is I think our fans understand that times are changing and either we need to evolve and continue to move forward or we're going to start to fall back.
Yep. So there you go. Adapt or die. Adapt or die. And when NDSU is in the FCS and all of its other sports teams are in the Summit League, still competing against the Jacks and the Yotes, clearly they're very well funded. Gate City Bank is a big part of that. They got a lot of oil money up there. They just have a lot of rabid fans. And you're trying to keep up. And you got to do it. Adapt or die. Go forward or fall back. This is how you go forward. And, well, here's a good way to put this in perspective. You go into any convenience store and, like it or not, you see Chase Mason in a life-size cutout poster hawking Dr. Pepper. Feels weird, feels ridiculous. It's kind of cool. It's kind of funny. But, the guy turned down 7 figures, $1 or $2 million. Big schools to stay at SDSU his senior year. You should get a little kickback from Dr. Pepper. You want him in a Jackrabbit uniform or not? This is partly what it takes. Now, he said he didn't say he'd go to SDSU for free, but he did say he's staying there because of the culture, the chance to win a national title. There's more to this than money, but still, you need something. And it's right there in physical form for you if you walk into a Casey's. Chase Mason, Dr. Pepper. You go to your Jackrabbit Hoops games in First Bank and Trust Arena. You go to your Yotes games at Sanford Coyote Sports Center. At some point, you may have walked into those arenas and gone, it's not called Frost anymore. It's not Coyote Arena. But we're just like, times evolve, times change. We might not love it, but this is what it takes. This is what it takes. If the team that you like, the Jackrabbits or the Coyotes, is going to continue to win games, or if you want them to win more, if they're going to continue to hang banners, or if you just want them to hang one, Yotes fans, men's basketball, Summit League tournament, played in the Denny Sanford Premier Center, national championships for football. You want those? You got to keep up. You got to find more than ticket sales and big donations from boosters. So I texted both USD Athletic Director John Schemmel and I texted Justin Sell, the SDSU AD. Are you going to seek, or are you seeking right now, corporate sponsorship, the logos on uniforms for your student athletes like NDSU announced it is doing today? John Schemmel was the first to respond. Didn't take him long. Exact words, yes, we absolutely are seeking those types of partnerships moving forward. We aren't in a hurry to do it, but confident we will find the right partner, in parentheses S, as in partner or partners. NDSU has one, maybe USD will have more than one, for those kinds of partnerships in the future. That was the end of Schemmel's statement. Justin Sell, not long after, texted back, John, we are actively working on all revenue streams and opportunities, including jersey patches. Hope you're doing well. This is the way of the world. Adapt or die. We have had responses on Twitter from fans who seem to be, not cool with it, but they get it. Aaron types in, I don't like it. I don't want it, but I totally understand why. And get ready, SDSU and USD. Those jersey logos are coming very soon. You can't turn down big corporate money sponsors and stay competitive forever, especially with NIL deals. Damon types in, I have to think some seed or chemical company would be willing to shell out a bunch of dollars for a jersey patch, given how much sponsorship is at the Dana J. Dykhouse Stadium. I don't care about the type of advertising of college sports as long as it brings in good revenue. So those two fans are at least where I am at. They're at where Matt Larsen and Justin Sell and John Schemmel are at. If you don't like it, I guess stop watching. Don't watch. Don't cheer. Throw away your gear. Light it. Burn it on fire. Throw it into a fire pit. And don't ever, you're not going to. You're going to keep watching and you're going to get over it. You have to if you want your teams to win and hang banners and still do this. By the way, Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Days tomorrow. We are going to hear from Jackrabbits like Dan Jackson, Chase Mason, and Logan Green. We're going to hear from Coyotes like Matt Vitztham and a couple of players USD sends. Live coverage. Live. Starting at 9 a.m. until it's over, which could be approximately noon, maybe 1 p.m. We're not sure. But tomorrow you can watch this all live a number of ways. I'm going to give them all to you right now. KSFL TV, channel 36 over the air, channel 616 at Midco. Live TV, KSFL TV. Check your local listings. Google it. SiouxFallsLive.com, where some of you catch the visual version of Happy Hour every day, thanks to the video producing of Cordell Wright. SiouxFallsLive.com on the KSFL TV tab, upper left-hand corner at SiouxFallsLive.com. Find it, KSFL TV. Click on it. We're there at 9 a.m. It will lead off with some opening presentation, and then the Jackrabbits will be up first. The Coyotes a little later, and all the other teams in the Missouri Valley Football Conference will step on up to our set where Matt Zimmer, Marcus Trexler, and I will be talking to the Jacks, and then Matt and Marcus will stay for the duration of all the teams with some special other guest co-hosts, depending on the team. Like Tom Miller from the Grand Forks Herald will help with the UND interview. Things like that. Trey Houchin, who is the Coyote football beat guy for us at Sioux Falls Live. He'll be with Matt and Marcus as they talk to the Coyote guests. And somewhere over on the side, away from the live coverage, I will be toiling away with happy hour segments you'll start enjoying Tuesday, tomorrow, right here on Happy Hour, wherever you get your podcast, SiouxFallsLive.com, or the Midwest Sports Plus app, which if you don't have it, don't have a subscription, that's okay. All this Missouri Valley Football Conference stuff is free, but we'd love you to subscribe because at Midwest Sports Plus, you get to enjoy all of our many high school football and basketball games that we bring you live and on demand. And boy, we have a heap of them coming with football in the fall. Midwest Sports Plus app. So a lot of ways you can see Football Media Days tomorrow to wet our whistle for the Pigskin. Matt Zimmer will join me on Wednesday, and we'll talk all about what we talked all about on Tuesday. When Matt and I talk on Wednesday, and that episode of Happy Hour will come out either Wednesday or Thursday. So just look for it in the coming days, all of our stuff from MVFC Media Day. Meanwhile, kind of big news in the Summit League, specifically Jacks, Yotes fans, mid-major basketball fans, and the citizens of Sioux Falls. We found out if Sioux Falls is going to host NCAA tournament men's basketball, the big boys, Division I, for the very first time. As you recall, Sioux Falls, the Sports Authority put in a bid and was reportedly, thanks to a reporter's work, one of 6 cities that bid on having the new play-in games in the NCAA tournament. New play-in games as in, those first 4 games that you see in Dayton. Well, there's going to be a bunch in Dayton, and then there's going to be a bunch in another city on the Tuesdays and Wednesdays as you lead into that grand round of 64 Thursday of the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Of course, that's expanding because the field is expanding from 68 to 76. And so Sioux Falls wanted to be the cities that was going to join Dayton in hosting what we, who are honest about what these are, call play-in games. But the NCAA tournament calls first round, or I don't know what the hell they call them. But at any rate, Sioux Falls was going after it. It's gone after round of 64 and 32 games before and got shot down. The competitors this time were Wichita, Boise, Albuquerque, Des Moines, and another city that escapes my memory at the moment. Cordell can tell me if you know it off the top of your head. But Sioux Falls did not get it. Wichita did. And not surprised whatsoever if you've been watching this show. We've had 2 interviews with Jerry Palleschi of the Sports Authority about what goes into the bidding process, what Sioux Falls would need. And there is no doubt that Sioux Falls would be a magnificent host for NCAA men's hoops because of the way it puts on all the NCAA events that have come to town. And also the Summit League tournament. That's always been your audition tape, right? And the Denny looks sparkling on TV. The crowds are great. People come out and support it. It's always one of the best attended mid-major basketball tournaments. For the women, it is almost always the best attended mid-major basketball tournaments. And in both men's and women's cases, sometimes it's higher attended than a lot or some higher mid-major tournaments. And in women's cases, Power 4 conference tournaments. So we know Sioux Falls would support this. We also know the Sports Authority, the Premier Center, the Sanford Pentagon, who's ever hosting events, NCAA Division II men's basketball national championships, NCAA Division I hockey regionals, the one NCAA women's basketball regional. Like, we're talking Sweet 16 Elite 8 that came here about a decade ago. And you remember it. Don Staley raved about it. Without any local teams involved or even regional teams, Sioux Falls crushes it. Sanford International, crushed. But that's not what this is about if Sioux Falls would do a good job. The NCAA and those officials who have been here for those events know Sioux Falls would do an outstanding job because they tell the Sports Authority every time, you do an awesome job. The thing is you're playing ball against some other cities, okay? They all do awesome jobs hosting NCAA tournaments as well. And every other city that Sioux Falls was bidding against has already hosted NCAA men's basketball. Sioux Falls likely had the lowest chance to get this because the NCAA has already seen on national television, on the big stage where these cities have tried it, and they've done well. Wichita, Des Moines, Boise, Albuquerque. They've all done well. So Sioux Falls was up against it because these cities have already hosted this event. Sioux Falls hadn't. Also, Sioux Falls was, by far, in relative terms, the smallest metropolitan area. Smaller. All these cities have less than 1.5 million people in their metro areas, but Sioux Falls, with 350,000, has the fewest. Wichita has a lot more. They've got close to 1 million in their metropolitan area. There's no seating requirement in an arena, but Sioux Falls at 12,500 did have the smallest arena of all these all these others had 13, 14, 15, 16,000 seats. By the way, Wichita's metro area, 661,000. That's still almost twice bigger than Sioux Falls. So they've all done it in every case, but I think Des Moines, they've done it multiple times. NCAA men's basketball, they have bigger arenas. And one thing I did not look up is number of full-service hotels. By full-service hotels, if you watch the Jerry P episodes, you know what that means. You got to have a restaurant and a big kitchen that can feed a lot of people in your hotel. You got to have at least one room that has 4,000 square feet of space for big meetings and big meals, and maybe even to practice a little basketball. Sioux Falls has only 5, maybe 6 such hotels. Canopy being the newest one over there on the Big Sioux River by 6th Street in the Steel District. You need all these other bigger cities have more. There would be 12 teams coming to town. 12. 6 games, 12 teams. And ideally, according to Jerry P., every team gets their own hotel, and the NCAA prefers having its own hotel separate from all the teams. So advantage everybody else than Sioux Falls. There wasn't a requirement, but this is usually what the NCAA is looking for. So did Sioux Falls have the highest bid, the lowest bid? We don't know how much money they bid, nor how much the other cities bid. And the NCAA doesn't get back to you and tell you why you didn't host. But Sioux Falls probably had the lowest odds, and that's okay. There are other big cities that are great cities at hosting sporting events. That doesn't make Sioux Falls second to anyone in the ability to do that. Zach Borg did a story for Midwest Sports Plus. You can find it on the app or at MidwestSportsPlus.com about 2 months ago. And he talked to the Sioux Falls Sports Authority president, Tom Lee, and he chatted with the man in charge of bringing NCAA events to Des Moines. And the man in Des Moines mentioned how many times, several, that the NCAA said no. Simply, Des Moines would bid. They wouldn't get NCAA men's basketball. But they just kept trying to improve as an operation and as a city. And as the city kept growing, corporate sponsorship grew. Des Moines finally got it. All Sioux Falls has to do is keep swinging away. They'll get it someday. We just don't know when. But it's not today. That's okay. We would do great. But it's not happening. There are other fish in the sea. Last thing we have for you today on the John Log is, this is fantastic. So Vikings training camp is starting soon. All NFL training camps are. I mean, we're in mid-July now. And the big storyline for the next 2 months before the season kicks off in September is going to be who will be the Vikings quarterback. Of course, they brought in Kyler Murray from the Arizona Cardinals for about 5 cents. The Cardinals are paying most of his salary. He's going to be way more expensive if he has a good season this year. Oh, that's, of course, if he plays, because J.J. McCarthy was the Vikings starter last year. And Kevin O'Connell has said from day one, this is going to be an open competition. They took an even number of snaps in the mini camp, which is, throwing against air. You're not actually playing football. But they took an even number of reps. We remember Kyler Murray not complaining, but just pointing out that, hey, I'm trying to learn this complicated new offense. I need more reps. You know where I stand on this, and it's where most of you Vikings fans stand on this. Anyone with half a brain. It's going to be Kyler Murray. You don't bring in Kyler Murray. You can argue about how awesome of a quarterback he's been in the NFL. I can argue he's been on mostly losing teams, defensive head coach, one in over his head coach, and Cliff Kingsbury. Mostly bad bottom 10 NFL lines, mostly bad NFL defenses. He's playing from behind. He's trying to desperately come back. He's a small guy who's gotten hurt, but you've seen the video game playmaking. Put him in a great offensive system with the Vikings. Kevin O'Connell, who has won 13 or 14 games, has won 14 games in the 2 seasons. He has had one quarterback all year that didn't get hurt. One with Kirk Cousins, one with Sam Darnold. Okay, put Kyler Murray in that environment, a top 5 defense under Brian Flores, which is what the Vikings were last year. a mediocre offensive line, which is better than bad, and the Vikings have rated mediocre. Okay, we're cooking with gas, and it's going to be better than the 29th ranked by Pro Football Focus, J.J. McCarthy, a bottom 5 rated starter in the NFL. Okay, we all know this. I probably didn't need to explain all that, but still, at face value, on the record, Kevin O'Connell still says things like this when a national host in Dan Patrick up in Lake Tahoe, pristine Lake Tahoe, for that celebrity golf event last week where celebrities from sports, Hollywood, all over came and played. DP had Kevin O'Connell on, and this is what KOC said about the open quarterback competition.
Everyone's like fascinated with that aspect of it. Here's what I would say, you know, 2 players and really the goal going into this offseason was to elevate the quarterback position, because when we have a certain standard of play that we feel like we have multiple guys in that room that are capable of achieving that standard, the Minnesota Vikings win football games. And so the best way to achieve that is having a daily attempt to have guys push each other, and not just always need the outside noise, or not always need what the narratives may be. Let's roll the ball out there, and let's try to help the Minnesota Vikings get better. Kyler has come in and done a great job. JJ, I think, has benefited from it. He had a really good spring. Carson Wentz is this veteran quarterback in the room that, as a guy who's played 7 or 8 quarterbacks in 4 years, the 2 years we had our starter, play the whole season, we won 13 and 14 games. So we want to try to get back to the standard of having the quarterback position be a driving force behind us winning by doing their job, by hopefully activating the great players they get to play with. We got a great defense. Brian Flores has done an unbelievable job. If we can limit giving the football away and generate some explosives and get a run game going, which is, although no one's really talking about that has been a major emphasis of this offseason, both from a coaching staff standpoint and a player development and offensive development standpoint. I'm excited about where we're at, but we won't really know until we, go start calcifying, forging our team together, that we're going to compete in the NFC North. It's a very, very competitive division.
Oh, man, he should run for office. What an exquisite word salad that was. Topped with the gourmet dressing of calcifying and fortifying. That was KOC. It was as if he practiced that. A 1-minute, 40-second speech in front of his mirror dozens of times, and has probably said the same stuff at the podium in minicamp and on KFan radio. But this is the Dan Patrick Show. So Dan Patrick, the man is 70 years old. He's been in the national sports business for 40 years. He has a very high BS meter, and he has nothing to lose by not letting KOC get away with that tap dance. So here was Dan's reaction to that answer.
Paul, how many coaching cliches did we get?
Dan, we got 6 cliches in 2 minutes. So
let's run this.
Excuse me, Coach. Run out the balls for practice is a cliche.
Yeah, well, it's a better way to say, and we're going to start practice in 3 weeks.
We're going to take it one practice at a time. You didn't say that.
Well, we're not going to take it one practice.
You have to, I think.
We actually go 3 and then an off day, and then we go 3.
Of course, Paulie would be Paulie Pats, Dan Patrick's lead producer, who was even Paulie can go at it with KOC. And you see KOC squirming a bit. Mr. Nice Guy, Dreamy McDimples on the defensive. But Dan Patrick, being the class act he is, offered KOC what he would have said. Dan Patrick would have said to answer the same question, and he had KOC ask the question.
Dan, why don't you take me through how you have an open competition, and what are your thoughts on it currently in Minnesota?
Well, you know what? I think every day, every job, everything you do is an open competition. Why am I limiting that to my quarterback room? I'm not going to close it. They're going out there. They're competitors. Go out there and win the job. I'm not handing you the job. JJ didn't live up to expectations yet. Maybe he can learn from Kyler. Kyler, I think, is going to have an incredible year inside on that turf in that division, me coaching him up, and I think we're going to dominate the North. We're going to win it, and I think we're going to be a Super Bowl favorite. Brian's done a great job with the defense, and I want to kick the Lions' ass, the Packers' ass, and the Bears' ass. Right. Who's with me?
Let's go.
Man, Dan Campbell's going to have fun with you here in about another month. No, but it's a great answer. But I think up until the point where, you kind of hit the gas there about 70% through there. But what you said is very similar to what I said.
I like the
guys
pickup. I like that you got Kyler Murray.
We want the guys to push to find exactly what they can become as players, and it's okay to be uncomfortable doing that sometimes.
Yes,
with as talented as these guys are, and they are, we are in a world where you find out very quickly that you have to be a grown-up in the National Football League, because that's what every Sunday, Monday, Thursday, whatever it is about. And we know that. We know what we signed up for. These players know that. I think they've handled it well, and I'm excited to see what it looks like. And we have a good plan in place to try to make sure we allow this thing to get to a place where we feel good about it, but also prepare the guy that's going to be our starter for the regular season.
Yeah, I think Kyler will do a good job as your starter.
But how do we
go Vikings?
Go Vikings!
Yeah.
Skol.
So Dan Patrick says what we're all thinking. It's going to be Kyler Murray. And then KOC goes from tap dancing to moonwalking back. No. Let's go back to the narrative. This is a two-man race. And once again, DP does not let KOC get away with it. The look on KOC's face at the end of that last clip is priceless. To me, he looks busted. DP went on to say that he should be KOC's scriptwriter and could turn Kevin O'Connell into a colorful TV personality with real opinions in 20 years when KOC is done with coaching. And then a couple minutes later, to end the interview, Dan thanks KOC for being a good sport.
Great to see you.
Great to see you.
Thanks for being a good sport.
No, of course.
Good luck with Kyler as your starter.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys, man.
KOC took that well. That could have he could have fallen into a horrible PR quicksand. He stood his ground. He stayed on message, but Dan Patrick put him on the spot like nobody can. And it just kind of felt like, given those reactions that KOC gave, it feels like he was kind of busted. Kind of busted. Did it feel like he was busted, Cordell, that KOC's body language may have suggested, oh, you caught me. It's going to be Kyler Murray. We all know that. It did. Okay, thank you. That's what I thought. I thought you'd all enjoy that if you didn't already. Little National Vikings pub. I like KOC, by the way. He's had great teams when he's had a good quarterback that doesn't get hurt. And lastly, baseball. We're going to get to the Twins with Matt Zimmer. We've hit the All-Star break, which is kind of the halfway point. Twins beat the Angels, the worst team in baseball, 2 out of 3. That's not all you can ask for. You could sweep them, but the Twins aren't a great team, but losing that series would be bad. They narrowly won both Saturday and Sunday. They're a game under 500. They're 3 games back of the AL division lead going into the All-Star break. And they're tied with the Seattle Mariners, for the final wild card spot. We're past the halfway point, actually, on the schedule. 97 games in out of 162. So it's trending well. And after the All-Star break, the Twins will have 3 in Chicago, which is one of the best teams in baseball. That's going to be tough. But then they go to Cleveland for 4, and they just beat the Indians a couple times in Cleveland. They'll have the A's, one of the worst teams in baseball, and Kansas City. What's that? Thank you, Guardians. I still can't. When am I going to catch on? It's only been 5 years. They have the Guardians, the A's, the Royals, and the A's and the Royals, 2 horrible teams at home. And then they go to Seattle, who they're tied with in the wild card at the end of the month. Those are the teams and the series the Twins will have before the trade deadline. And that schedule, plus the fact that the Twins are the top run-scoring team in the American League, top 6 or 7 in baseball, and their starting rotation is a top half in all of Major League Baseball since June 1st. And this is without Pablo Lopez. Spells that there's potential for the Twins to continue to be respectable and in a legitimate division and wild card race by the trade deadline. And then what are they going to do? I don't know if they're going to really go after anybody, and give anybody up, but they're going to have some big decisions to make because Joe Ryan, one of the 2 All-Stars in Philadelphia, boy, you could get a good haul for him. He's having another good year. You could be Bill Belichick and get ahead of it instead of waiting to give him a big payday or let him go as a free agent and not get anything back. We'll be talking about that a lot with Matt Zimmer on Wednesday and as we get closer to the trade deadline here on Happy Hour. Meanwhile, the Canaries, after winning 5 straight last week, they lose 5 straight. They're kind of in a tailspin heading into the All-Star break. A couple games under 500, 6.5 back of the Kansas City Monarchs in their division, and you have to be top 4 in your division to reach the playoffs in the American Association. So the Canaries they're in good shape for the playoffs. Mike Meyer's teams have played pretty well second half of the season the last 3 years, and have reached the playoffs each of the last 3 years, of course, within 3 outs of winning the whole league, the championship series last year. So a lot of TBD with the Birds. They'll get 10 games at home to try to get hot again, and it's going to be hot at the ballpark. But I remind you, most games are at evening, when it's cooler outside, where there's a little breeze, and most of the seats in the evenings are in the shade. Just a little something for you to remember as you think about having some summer fun at the Birdcage starting this Friday. And now let's go down to the Orion Pub and go Lalley-gagging.
It's still Happy Hour with John Gaskins. This round's on me.
He's coming in hot on a hot, steamy summer day. Politics are heating up in Sioux Falls and South Dakota. It's time to go Lalley-gagging with Patrick Lalley, the OG of Sioux Falls and South Dakota political reporters, the knight in shining armor, our editor for Sioux Falls Live. We have a new mayor, I think. Maybe.
Should.
By twice as many votes as last time. 4 out of about 37,000. Christine Erickson in the recount gets 2 more votes to, I guess, Smith. Stretch across the finish line, the photo finish over Jamie Smith.
Yeah.
You just talked to Christine, so we'll get into that like he just talked like before he came here. Happy hour at the Orion Pub in downtown Sioux Falls, where Patrick Lalley has a Miller Lite being cracked for him the second he cracks open that door 10 feet away. That's how.
Yeah. Well, it's no secret that this is sort of my second office.
Yeah.
I will, not to start on a sad note, but my friend, David Bronco, who is a city councilor and frequent patron of Orion, used to call it my downtown office.
There you go. Well,
so, and of course, unfortunately, David passed away recently. And
last week, yeah. I remember him sitting over there with you. Right. I met him when you guys were hammering out, just chit-chat, shooting the breeze.
And,
a few months ago.
We're a little off track, but I just want to, I haven't had a chance to write this yet, but, he and I would talk about politics, but that was maybe an eighth of what we talked about.
Yeah.
We talked about music and food and movies and TV and parenting and kids. I mean, it was, and I miss him. I already miss him.
He was a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know him that well, but you could sense. I loved the energy.
Yeah.
He didn't feel like a typical polished politician. Not to say he was unpolished, but he just had kind of more of a kid-like,
authentic
energy for life and for that gig compared to most. So cheers.
Sláinte, David.
To David. Yes, another cheers. I've got Coors Light on tap. We have Doeden and Rhoden to talk about. Not a surprise, Toby and Larry are upping the rhetoric. 2 pigs in the pen slinging mud at each other at this point.
It's not going to get any better.
When is the governor election?
28th.
The 28th. So we're looking 2 weeks down the road. 2 weeks?
3. I think it's 3.
Is
it's
it?
only July. Wait.
We're this like
Today's,
July 13th.
Tomorrow, I think it's 2 weeks from tomorrow. You're right.
Okay. By the way, stopped by Orion yesterday on a Sunday afternoon between 2 softball games in this sweltering summer heat. You had to sit out a bunch of softball games recently around here.
I did. I watched a lot of youth softball.
Oh, my goodness. So, you got to go inside between these games. We had 2 hours.
Yep.
And we went one place with the team and then took team photos, and then we're like, let's break away, my husband and I. We're on the same team. and I always catch these before the rest of you do.
Yeah,
and we came down here to Orion, a perfect spot. Grabbed a quick pizza, a Sonny's pizza. Watched a little Twins, and just felt this is where you watch the world go by a little bit here.
Yeah,
so
it really is. Great. It's an oasis.
Great to be on a literal Monday afternoon happy hour with Patrick. So let's tap into it with the mayor thing.
The mayor thing.
We had the recount.
Yes.
It's like the closest mayoral race ever, history of the world.
And you really, this was according to my friends at the Dakota Scout. I think Joe Sneevy called it one of the closest, large vote races in the country. You get a small town, you have 100 voters or whatever, yeah. But 36,000 votes, and it comes down to 4. So it's pretty unusual.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've seen the posts. I've seen the posts. We talked about this last time, where every vote counts. No, you can never say your vote doesn't count anymore. How many people did you meet? How many people do I know that just kind of were like, either you can't, you literally don't care, or you forgot it was that day, or you didn't want to take the time to go and drive in and physically vote in person, which in the city of Sioux Falls really doesn't take a whole long time. But that just didn't. And I contest, and we don't have to go on this point very much. I want to hear what Christine had to say to you. That I'm sure there's if there are an equal number of people that voted for these folks, there are an equal number of people that would have voted for him or would have voted for her. But still,
you don't know.
I think if anything is a testament to your vote counts, maybe go, if you're trying to decide to vote or not, go do it.
Yeah.
Because your person might could make a difference.
I think the whole thing speaks well of our city.
Okay.
The candidates didn't really engage in anything really nasty or underhanded.
No.
There's all kinds of stuff that can be done. But, the fact that you have such a close election, you could say that it's a city divided, just like the country. But I don't buy that. I think there's just a lot of different kinds of people here. And they're not just all one thing or another. There's a lot of different interests and coalitions and interest groups, and it was who had the best message and who did you like, not I hate that person.
Yeah.
And so that was refreshing.
It was.
But I did talk to Christine today, and we talked a little bit about that actually, and just how she's the first woman mayor of the city, and that really wasn't an issue in the campaign. It was not like people were like, you don't want a woman running the joint, do you? Hey.
And she wasn't like,
no. And but it's important to note, she told some stories, I thought, in my interview that you can see already on SiouxFallsLive.com, probably very near this one.
Yeah.
And she told a story about sitting next to talking to a little girl who saw her and said, "Mommy, that's the girl from the postcard. It's the political mailer, right?" And so she talked to her for a little bit. It's a very nice story, and just stuff like that. And it's important to note these things. It's historic in that nature. Christine's going to do just fine. Now, what we don't know is if there's still some recourse for Jamie. He has a press conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's Monday as we tape this.
And you had planned on talking to him today, and
I had planned
he
on
held
talking
off
this afternoon, and he just pushed it till tomorrow. So we'll talk to him, and it worked out because I want to talk to him after he says what he's going to do. Yeah. So we'll have that tomorrow.
And your assumption, if not assertion, of what he's going to say tomorrow is what at the press conference? He's either going to concede or he's going to say, "I'm still challenging this," right?
Yep. And I suspect that it's the latter. I mean, I suspect they have a plan to find either overturn some of those votes, but there's an issue with the mail-in absentee votes.
150 of them, right?
Yeah, something like that, and that came in after that arrived at the auditor's office after the election, after Tuesday, and that's the law. The law says if they arrive after election date, they don't count. So I don't know. I mean, if they have some that they think that they can challenge, I don't know. I mean, you don't need very many, but we'll find out. The key question is whether they can get a judge to issue an injunction to stop Christine from being sworn in on Friday. So you've got to get a judge to agree to stop an election that has been basically certified, recounted, everything. You got to have some pretty good evidence that there's something that can change, right?
Yeah.
And to get a judge to stand in front of the electoral process is pretty tough. I've said this. I can't think of one case, and I'm sure there's something out there. If there's corruption or whatever, I'm sure they exist. So when I say I don't think it's ever happened, that's probably not true. But I don't ever remember a judge saying, you know what, we're just going to stop this and wait till we can figure it out.
Yeah. Okay.
Even in the 2000 presidential election between George W. Bush and Al Gore, all that stuff that happened, George Bush was inaugurated on January 20th, the day he was supposed to be.
Right. I mean, do we have any idea if Christine is not inaugurated on Friday and a judge does allow more of a challenge or a count of votes, like when the hell we are going to get a mayor and an inauguration? And when Paul TenHaken can finally, I'm sure he's packed up all his things already.
That's right.
But can finally, ride off into the sunset because his tenure has already been extended by, a month?
No, I mean, his tenure was extended by the legislature.
Yeah.
So everything's on schedule for Friday.
Yeah.
That would have been the day.
Yeah.
Because of the change in the law, which, as we know, was stupid. So he was extended against his will. I just can't see a judge saying, you just stick around and run the city, even though you're under no obligation to do so.
Yeah.
No legal obligation to do so.
Okay. Right. All right. Any other big takeaways from your chat with Christine today, now that she's, probably, I think that's a good word, probably going to be the mayor on Friday?
She announced her transition team this morning. A bunch of familiar faces and names. Matt Paulson, who's been a supporter of hers, is on there.
He's the market beat guy.
He's the market beat guy.
He has a few bucks.
He's got a few bucks.
Mildly influential in the community.
Alex Jensen, who's been involved with her campaign as former city councilor. People like that. Jody Schwan, our friend Jody Schwan from Sioux Falls Business, who was the former chief of staff to Dave Munson. Caden Whitman, a Democratic representative from Sioux Falls Central District here. So it's
that's notable.
Yeah, there's a bunch of people on there.
Now, of course, there's been a lot of discussion about partisan, how it shouldn't play a part in city elections, mayoral elections, but they were somewhat against Christine's will, most notably Toby Doeden, the Republican.
Yeah, and I asked her about that today.
Yep. Okay, but to recap, you go ahead and recap it.
No.
I mean, Toby, I think most people watching who are interested know this, but Toby really stuck his nose in the election and railed against a Republican and an independent who were mayoral candidates who did not make the final two-person runoff, who supported Jamie Smith, who is a Democrat, ran for governor as a Democrat against Kristi Noem in 2022, and Doeden, a very Trump-citing Republican, did a very Trump-like thing and just went full scorched earth on how dare a Republican like Greg Jameson, a very moderate Republican in relative terms, and an independent like Joe Batchelor, who's an independent, dare side with a Democrat, and Sioux Falls is going to turn into another Democrat-run hellhole like Minneapolis or Portland. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what it is.
No, that's a pretty good paraphrase.
And first of all, those cities are not hellholes.
No, I was just in Minneapolis last week.
I was just in San Francisco last weekend.
Yeah.
Do these places have some trouble spots?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey,
anyway, we're leaping way off the rails in review.
Yeah, we can talk about.
But anyway, Toby, but this is the kind of message that Toby Doeden was sending, and you said last time this could have hurt Christine Erickson.
I know it did.
Anyway, you talked to her about that today, so let's get to that.
Well, she just, she's not going to say yes. She's not going to say yes to that. Yeah, that guy messed me up. There's no way she's going to say that.
Well, she did.
But I said.
Yeah. Sorry.
I say. I understand that, but I know people that switched their votes or made their decision when he got involved.
Right.
They're like, now I'm not voting for her. I was thinking about it, but now I'm not going to do it.
You do know some people.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I have more than one person tell me that.
Well, I mean, look,
maybe there are people who I don't know who said, well, if Toby's with her, I'm going to dump Jamie but I just don't believe that's true.
I mean, she had significantly more votes. She was as the top vote getter in the first election than the number 2 Jamie Smith, and that gap literally closed
9 points
to within 4 votes. So I mean, we went from 9 percentage points to 0.00001. And could be a lot of things. I'm sure the endorsements, even had Toby not railed against the machine, the endorsements probably helped Jamie close the gap.
I will say so. I believe that's to be true.
And then, Toby's thing probably didn't help that anymore. But the other thing that I would think is that, well, of course, I bet you she just wants to be classy about this. She appreciates the votes she got.
Yeah.
But
she's not going to do that.
She could be, I'm not saying working for Toby Doeden, but he could be the governor. And she's going to be the mayor of the biggest city. And, well, you got to you have a good relationship, so she's minding her P's and Q's.
At least one of those
people. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Okay.
100%. She's not going to say anything like that.
Yeah.
That would be dumb. But I can.
That's why we're doing this.
I can say that it hurt her. I know it did. And because he wasn't doing it for her, he was doing it for himself.
Yes. Of course.
So we'll see. I mean, that race has some time to go here, and we'll figure out what happens. My interest in that is I'm far more interested in city politics than I am state politics.
Why is that?
It's much more interesting. It's about actually solving problems.
Yeah.
Identifying problems, solving problems, instead of making up problems and then coming up with a solution that fits whatever thing you thought should happen. I mean, they're just creating problems in their own brains so that they can do things that they think I don't understand.
This is what you think is going on in the governor race or any Congress race, Senate race, presidential race in America.
Sure. But I'm talking about the South Dakota legislature and governor.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Sure.
But even on the national level, you're just making up problems. Identify the problem, identify the potential solutions, talk about the solutions, and pick one.
What's an example? I'm playing dumb here. But I'm playing host, which is sometimes means playing dumb. What is an example of making up problems that you've been seeing
in South
on?
Dakota? Property tax.
Yes. That's kind of like
I've talked about that.
Yeah.
Ad nauseum. Go read the coverage.
SiouxFallsLive.com.
And then on the national level, immigration is the best example to me.
Transgenderness.
Well, I mean that's a made up problem.
Yeah.
But immigration is a made up problem. Now, is there a problem with immigration? Yes. There's a policy problem with immigration. Or there always has been changes in the policy. But what is the problem? And not just what Trump has done, or I mean Biden did it poorly, and I mean you just keep going back and back and back, and it just keeps getting screwed up. And when people of reasonable mind from both sides of the didactic political scene come up with something that seems like a good solution, it goes nowhere. Reasonable solutions go nowhere.
Okay. Well, I guess that's a good transition into the
something.
The Rhoden. No, the Rhoden thing. Doty Rhodey.
Doty
Howdy
There's
doody.
a song in there.
I know.
It's a song parody.
A great country tune that they could play here.
Doty Rhodey.
If there wasn't a rule and a sign that forbids us from talking politics here at the Orion Pub. But
unless you're on air.
Thomas makes an exception just for us. And fortunately, they're loud enough and having a good time behind us that they can't hear us. And so we're still providing the kind of experience you would expect at a place like the Orion Pub, a friendly neighborhood pub, to get away from the world's problems, including politics. But anyway, we're here. We're doing it. We appreciate it. So those property tax commercials are heating up. And, of course, like any heated political race, we've got differing messages from the candidates. You can't avoid these commercials if you're watching sports or if you're watching any damn thing on YouTube. And so everybody who's watching this has seen the ads. But, it appears to me Toby's just going full throttle. Larry Doeden's the worst thing to happen and will be to South Dakota.
What I'm very interested in...
And Larry's just defending himself.
You brought up the ads, right?
Yeah.
I'll be very interested to see how much money Larry's raised since the first round, because he didn't have much, but he needs a lot.
That's crazy that the governor, the incumbent, didn't have much.
Well, people didn't give him much of a chance, but he pulled it off.
Yeah.
He made it. And he's, going to need money to buy all these ads, and I suspect that he has many willing sources at this point.
I'm playing dumb, playing host, playing Larry King here. Do you think those that were spending a lot of money on Dusty Johnson trying to get him elected are now pouring the money into Rhoden?
Some of them.
I would think so.
Some of them.
I would think none of that money's going to Toby Doeden.
I think there are sources available to Larry that were not available to him before that will help him cover any gap of the self-funded Mr. Doeden.
What about the votes? Like, do you think a lot of Dusty's votes are going to go to Larry?
Yes.
Have there been any recent polls?
No.
Okay.
And I mean, they've done polling.
Well, yeah.
And
let's believe their polling.
Well, it depends on who you. If you're a legitimate political campaign run by professionals, you want the best, most honest polling you can get. We don't ever see that kind of polling. Sometimes they'll try and shoot us high, top level numbers to try and say, "Oh, we're doing great," but you never see them say we're doing terrible.
Yes.
But what they really want are the crosstabs, and so that the sophistication of polling that candidates have is much more than what you will see more often from a media organization, because they're willing to spend the money to get it because it's very valuable information.
Here's a fun-loaded question for you.
Yes.
The kind great journalists like you hate. But because you're a great journalist, you're going to give a fun answer. What does this race come down to? And I didn't even say the word issue. I could say, what issue does this come down to?
I think we talked about this.
But I could also mean, like, who's going to win? Like, what will make the difference? Go either way. I don't care.
I said, I think after the first round of voting, I don't know what this is about. Like, what is this election about? And I think now it's become about. I think Larry has been able to take back the messaging, right? Which is, Toby Doeden's message was, they're all crooks, right?
Yes.
But I think Larry has been able to take back the message and make it into to reliability. Steady hand, reliability.
Yes.
Trusted guy who's good on his word and his handshake. That's his message, and I think he's been effective at that.
I do too. I agree.
Ian Fury, who everybody, who in a lot of journalistic circles is not well liked.
Good, because he was Kristi Noem's main PR person. And she was all about, full throttle, go for the jugular, sling mud, no holds barred.
No, right. Ian is ostensibly Larry's campaign manager. I think that's his title. He's done a great job. Nobody's given Ian enough credit here yet about navigating his way through this And if they come out on the other side, I will say that that was an exemplary piece of political campaign management.
Yeah. Well, I am just an average Joe watching, being annoyed by commercials, but also still paying attention because I'm...
By the way, I hope Ian watches this and sees how nice I am. I hope he remembers.
Oh, have you?
I have a... You see, the thing is that if you're... Not that people didn't have a right to be mad at some point, blah, 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 whatever. But my experience has been, as a reporter, that your relationships with these people in political campaigns are they're very important. And if you're honest and you're fair, they are honest and they are fair. There's a way to do it. And I've had them go bad on me as well, but there's a way to do it that is productive for everybody in the long term.
Okay.
That's way inside stuff.
Well, that's partly what people come to this for. They want to get the Patrick Lalley inside stuff.
I mean, you got to be able to meet in places like this and have conversations that were outside the everything being recorded world.
Yeah, I agree that these Larry Rhoden ads, and I think I saw some before the first election, the first primary, where obviously it was required to have a second primary election. That yes, I think the message is, and Cordell, I'm just going to use Cordell as a test here. Have you seen some of these Larry Rhoden ads here? Sure, you have. Okay. And
Cordell's every man.
Cordell is an everyman. He's
Every
younger.
man.
He's in his
reality
20s.
Check.
He's not a political junkie, but again, it's inevitable to come across these ads.
Solid dude.
I think Larry has been, Larry and Cordell. I think Larry has been painted as a solid dude. Yep. I think the cowboy hat works. Just you've already said it, but like the steady hand, the steady Eddie. If you're tired of the vitriol, not just from Trump, but from anybody in politics these days, but let's face it, Toby is squarely looking you in the eyes and saying, if you love Trump, you get a load of me here in South Dakota.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no doubt about that. Larry's doing an effective job of going. I'm steady Eddie over here. I've lived in this state. I've done everyman jobs. I'm just a rancher. And he's not acting like I'm just some old dumb guy, but I'm just,
guy who likes to weld.
I'm a guy who likes to weld, but I've been around here. I know how state politics work, and you can trust me.
Yep.
Would you agree that that's the message, and has it resonated? Would you agree that that's the message?
I would agree
that's the message. Okay. Yeah, he's not going to speak if it's resonated. I went too far by asking if it's resonated. But I think if his goal is to differentiate himself from Toby Doeden and Toby Doeden's style and Toby Doeden's resume,
also, you have to remember who the audience.
It's been effective.
You have to remember who the audience is here.
Go ahead, you tell me.
Republicans.
Yes.
Republicans who will go and vote in late July.
Do you think this is okay? Then I'll ask this: do you think this will be about this very thing? And again, there's a Democrat. Dan Allers.
Waiting in the wings.
We're going to have a general election, and you never know. There have been plenty of amazing upsets, just like in sports, in politics. We should, at least mention there's a Democratic candidate waiting in the wings, and whoever wins this is not automatically governor of South Dakota. But having said that,
straight face.
Just whoever wins this between these two Republicans, is that? Do you think that's somewhat of a referendum on the upcoming national midterms?
B. No.
You know what I'm getting at?
No, I do.
Or is South Dakota such a unique state? Because to me, it's kind of feeling like, are you a never Trump or not a Trump anymore, or are you very like Trump?
You mean
Trump?
The primary?
When it comes to Doeden versus Rhoden?
No.
Because Rhoden feels like either never Trumpers or not any longer Trumper Republicans. And
you might be onto something a little bit there.
And Doeden feels very much like full speed ahead Trump, which, the polls, his poll numbers are really low, right? And a lot of people are expecting a big midterm election away from Trump, right? But it's a few months away. So does it feel like the results, or is South Dakota such a unique place that that's not exactly going to be a reflection of the nation?
I don't think so.
What will it say about South Dakota if Larry wins or Toby does? South Dakota Republicans.
I'll be very interested to see how many of them vote.
Okay. Do you think it'll be a low number or a high number?
I'm expecting a pretty low turnout.
That's insane. Do you think that's because a lot of Republicans are going to be okay with whoever it is?
No, I think it's because it's in the late July, and we've never done it before.
There have been a lot of elections already, Cordell says.
We've been just one election after another.
Yeah.
And so I'll be interested to see who votes. I mean, a lot of people will be on vacation. I mean, you can early vote and all that, but I don't know. I'm not going to predict who will win, but I think Larry has done well for himself since the first round, establishing who he is and why a Republican would want to vote for him.
Okay.
I don't believe that in the end you can win an election without some sort of detail or presenting an understanding of the issues facing the state.
Do you think there's been a lack of detail and a lack of understanding of the issues from Toby?
Yeah. 100%.
Rhetorical question. Okay.
I mean, it's now. I don't think that works. But I've been wrong before.
Yeah.
I picked Dusty to win without a runoff. So
there you go. Well, I was going to
know?
ask you who you're picking to win. Do you have a pick?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. I can't.
Oh, okay.
I just can't make a prediction.
Be
I've got nothing to base it on. And clearly everything that I believed about electoral politics has been upset by the culture.
Here's another question that made me think of you, and hopefully, in doing this for probably this last show, Lalley-Gagging, before the election.
By the way, you call it Lalley-Gagging, kind of confuses it with Lalley Cooler, which everybody already thinks I have something. Not everybody.
Well, you're cooler than Lalley Cooler.
It was a hoot.
It was a blast. I was there both nights. Yeah. Yes, I was there both nights.
Big crowds, right?
It depends on what you mean by big, but yeah, I mean, they weren't small. I mean, people weren't filling the stands, but they were filling the field.
Good. Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it was very
successful venture.
Very successful.
Go ahead.
And enjoyable.
Everything's coming up Lalley these days.
I have seen, Doeden has replaced a lot of his signage with Vote Doeden, Save SD.
I haven't seen those.
Oh, man. Have you seen those? Have you seen any of those? Okay, maybe
Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
I've seen them in lawns. I've seen them in front of gas stations.
You know, I'm happy you mentioned lawns because what I have noticed, for instance, I drive around the Tony Tuthill neighborhood of Sioux Falls quite often, and my suburban range out there. I don't see I see virtually no Doeden signs.
Okay.
I see some Rhoden signs. Now, where you see them are on, along roadways, big signs that are clearly set up by people. But I'm not seeing that. My old compatriot Dave Kranz used to have a route. I wish he was still with us. That he would drive before every election and count signs. Didn't matter what election it was. And he would tally up the signs and base and make an analysis based on that. And it was pretty accurate.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah. I don't know. He would have a tough time finding Doeden Rhoden signs in this weird atmosphere that we're in.
I've seen the signs that say Vote Doeden, Save SD. And I understand any answer to questions like this is in the eye.
Save us from what?
It's in the... Thank you. Well, you're getting to it. It's in the eye and the brain of the beholder. But do you really feel like South Dakota needs to be saved, and from what? That's what I'm asking.
We got the best life in the world. I don't know why. I mean, we always have things to fight about.
By that, what do you mean?
How could life get any better? I mean, yeah, there are problems. People have challenges. There's poverty and social discord but it's not
and property
it's not
taxes.
We have
like
a good life.
like everywhere else.
We have a good life. I don't like slogans, and I don't like jingoistic approaches to life. I don't like the safest, freest, blah 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 blah, because all that's just putting words together. It's not reality.
Yeah.
But my life's pretty good. Is your life pretty good?
It's all right.
It's not bad.
Could be better. Pretty nice, pretty easy place to live.
Yep, it's pretty good. South Dakota. It's
not
pretty
the
good.
case. That's not the case for everybody, but
it's all right.
But it's probably the case for more people here than a lot of other places.
No, I wouldn't want to live anywhere outside the metro, ever.
That's for another show. But anyway, I would agree. It doesn't feel like South Dakota needs to be saved because there's nothing to save it from. But I just, I saw that's what the signs say.
I know.
And so to
that doesn't mean he's going to lose or win.
I translate that as somewhat of a desperate ploy. That's been his desperate's
message.
one word, but aggressive is another.
That's been his message.
Whether this place needs to be saved or not, that's a little bit more aggressive, and it's more of a message than just here's my name, vote for me. So we'll just see if it works.
I would contend, and I would, if if Toby was sitting here next to us, I think he'd agree with us. His life's pretty good. He's got a pretty good life.
Yeah.
He seems like a pretty happy guy.
He
when
does.
you outside of campaign speeches, seems like a pretty happy guy.
Yeah. Well, therefore, I don't know if you can answer this question or not, because you said there's been a lack of detail. But a Doeden governorship would mean what? What do you think that leads to? Okay.
I have no idea. Not because, you've got a legislature that you have to work with.
Yeah.
And if you tell them we're going to get rid of property taxes, first of all, that then means that you have to find money to run schools and local government somewhere else, which ironically would mean a more centralized system of state government and how we run. It would take power away from local people and centralize it in Pierre, which is sort of antithetical to a true conservative message.
Yes, that they kind of want government out of things, right?
Well, and I do too.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't want the government in my life. You want the government in your life?
Not really.
See?
So let's circle it back to Christine, because you said things
that's
are
probably good, because Cordell's going to shoot you in a minute.
Things are going to be fine. What are we at? 32. My guess is we're at 32. 32 minutes? 35. I'm getting pretty good at this. Let's try to keep it under 40.
I'm the 15-minute interview guy.
I know you are. But what am I?
But I'm enjoying this, so keep going.
Good. Well, I hope everybody else is too. If they're still listening, they must have.
Must.
Why do you think we're going to be fine with Christine as mayor?
Yeah, of course. I think we'll be fine with either one of them.
I did too. What do you think a Christine mayorship will mean, if that's a word?
I think that she's going to be exactly who you think she is, which is open, a listener for the most part, but in the end will do what she thinks is best in terms of the budget. She's going to be she's going to have to be pretty conservative in terms of what we spend money on, and probably rather loath to get involved in issues of childcare and homelessness and things like that some people probably won't like.
She doesn't want to get into those?
No, I think what she would say is we need to work with our community partners to address the problem.
Taxpayers are not going to
not
the bill.
Put the taxpayers on the line.
Okay.
Doesn't mean we can't be involved, but it's not going to be a city program.
Yeah, I got you.
I think in general that's where she's going to come down on things, and making sure that we got the cops come when you call them, and the streets are better than average, and that's going to be Christine. I'm sure she'll ruffle some feathers along the way just because of the way she is. She's a very direct human being.
Yeah, she is.
She's not going to make everybody very happy, but she knows that.
Okay, I actually have two more. Two? Time for two more. It's an old Vikings thing. Minnesota Vikings.
How about Chuck Woolery?
2-2. Yes. We'll be back in 2-2. Paul TenHaken, the current mayor, finally, probably done officially on Friday. Number one, back to Doeden Rhoden. I forgot to ask. Thought this is going to be a big thing with our conversation today. How much does his endorsement help Rhoden? Do you think that'll help if it's a close election? Does that endorsement help?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, we're in the biggest city in the state. He's been a fairly popular mayor.
Not a big swing, but it's hard to believe there's anybody who's on the fence between those two guys.
Yeah.
But if they are, and they live in the metro, they might take what Paul says to heart.
Yeah.
I think they would. They trust him.
Yeah. And that's...
there's a bunch of people out there who do think he's a Democrat. So, a rhino or whatever. They don't know Paul TenHaken very well.
Right.
So maybe a little bit.
Okay. And the last one would be, since this is actually it, we could do a whole show on this, but we won't. The Paul TenHaken legacy, 2 terms, 8 years as mayor will be.
You can only deal with what comes at you. And you don't know what's going to come at you. So
what came at him? How did he deal with it?
COVID. And, property tax caps. And, he made mistakes. Clearly, the whole thing with the Delbridge was a mistake. Not in terms of getting rid of it, because good riddance. But, how that was a teaching moment for public relations, and the whole thing with the mural, I think, was a misstep on his part. I think
really? The parking garage mural?
Yeah, I just think he would have been fine not saying anything. But that's me.
I think it looks. I don't remember what he said, but I like looking at that. To be honest, that's a big deal, whether it's the biggest of deals or not. I walked down from my neighborhood up near McKinnon Park. I walk down or drive down to the Orion Pub or downtown a lot. And if I go down First Avenue, I am looking directly at that mural. And every time I see it, I go, those are some nice colors. That's better than looking at concrete.
Yeah.
Would I think of it at all? Maybe if I knew the history behind that whole, because that's on Huther's tab, right?
Oh, the actual parking ramp.
Yes. Chernobyl at the falls.
Yeah.
But you're talking about the mural that's on it. They decided to at least, hey, we don't know if we're going to be able to do anything else with this building besides a parking garage, but at least we're going to make it look nice. And that's a very relative and subjective term, but I look at it and go, that was a nice thing that Paul did there.
Right. And if he in my brain, they got this, the winner of this process. If he would have just said, "Oh, I don't like it, but whatever," it wouldn't have been on his. If people hated it, it wouldn't be his problem. It's art.
Yes,
it's art.
It's interpretive.
But he sort of made it into his problem, and he tried to solve it. And it just got worse as it went along.
Okay.
And then the sustainability report thing, that just made people mad who were involved with it.
Okay.
I mean, stuff like that. Those were the mistakes he made. There are people who will detail these things much more than we need to do here. But,
I'm sure you'll write a column.
But his legacy,
yeah,
I think his legacy will be very positive. I think he leaves as a popular mayor.
The city grew naturally, not because of him, but he handled the growth reasonably well. It appeared, and I think he'll have a lot to be proud to look back on. And question 2B is, do we expect to see him? Mike Huther has never emerged in another election. He's maybe thought about it. He's given us all a little bit of a tease, but it hasn't happened in 8 years. What about Paul? Do you think this will be the second? Well, I don't know.
No, I doubt it. But he's still a young man.
He is,
and he's going to go and do, mentoring and leadership or whatever it is that he's going to do, and he'll be a guy who you see, I imagine, and he stays in touch and maintains a profile. And if the nature of the Republican Party were to change, maybe, but not under the current conditions. There's no way.
Okay. All right. Thank you for doing this.
Hey, always a pleasure. I enjoy it.
Do you?
Lalley-Gagging is one of the highlights of my occasional week.
Okay.
Occasionally a highlight of my week, I should say.
All right. Well, I would agree with that.
No, thanks.
And I need another beer too. Maybe we could go play shake and bake, whatever that's.
Shake a day.
Shake a day. Let's go play shake a day. Have another beer. Appreciate Patrick Lalley, and we'll Lalley-gag again after Doeden or Rhoden finally wins.
Absolutely.
Finally wins the Republican primary. For video producer Cordell Wright, I'm John. Check out Patrick's interview with Christine, the article about Christine, whatever happens with Jamie on Tuesday. Oh, and by the way, Missouri Valley Football Conference Media Days.
Oh, good luck with that.
All at SiouxFallsLive.com.
On Channel 36 over the air, 616 cable.
Cheers.
Bye.
You need anything else, John?
No, I think I'm good, Greg. I think I'm going to tap out.
All right. Have a good night.